Hey guys, this is Adam Feldman with the Feldman Law Firm, coming today to talk about a very common question I get with scratched cases and or old cases. So here's what happens. You get arrested anywhere in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and at that point, the police officers have different choices as to what they can do with you. And typically what they'll do is they will book you, and you'll get your initial appearance that evening, and that court is going to say you have a status conference, or it's called a non-witness preliminary hearing, in about 10 days or so. And most people think, all right, that means the criminal case process has officially started because they're telling me to go to court. And it's kind of true, but the truth is that at that point, a prosecutor has never even reviewed your case. And so you've been set with a court date before a prosecutor has decided to even charge you. It's based off of a police officer's submittal only. So what happens quite often is, because of this backlog with all of these criminal cases, is that the prosecutors can't catch up with how many arrests that the police are making and submitting to the court. So oftentimes what we see when we're walking through the court halls is we hear people super excited, saying that their case got dismissed, but we can tell because of where they are, and it's called the Regional Court Center for the preliminary hearing, that odds are their case has not been dismissed, but instead it's been scratched, or the prosecution has been delayed, and scratched means exactly that. So clients will often come to me at the time that they're arrested and say, I've got this status conference or this non-witness preliminary hearing, and we get on the case, and lo and behold, the case gets scratched. And they ask me, is that great? Is the case over? And my answer is, unfortunately, not. It can be over if the state ultimately decides to not go forward with prosecution, but I'd say about 8 out of 10 times they're going to go forward with prosecution, and that excitement and that feeling of victory is very short-lived. Now here's what has been happening recently in Maricopa County with the courts and the prosecution as it relates to scratched cases. A lot of cases revolve around blood analysis, whether it's a drug case or they're looking for DNA or anything like that, but they're testing your blood, and when they do that, that takes a lot of time. Sometimes it could take as long as 6 to 8 months to get DNA analysis. So they've scratched your case, and you're sitting there waiting week after week, now month after month, and you're thinking that everything has gone away. Bad news is that the statute of limitations for a felony case is 7 years, and sometimes it can even be longer depending on the circumstances. So you're just sitting there waiting, and the prosecutor simply has not gotten around to your case to decide whether or not they're going to charge it, because oftentimes they're waiting for additional evidence. What we have caught wind of is, as of very recently, the prosecutor's office is under a very big directive from the county attorney, Bill Montgomery, to go through and charge as many, if not all, of the uncharged cases, and to do this quickly. So I anticipate that within the next 6 months or so, there's going to be this onslaught of people calling and saying, hey, it's been 2 weeks, 2 months, a year, and I haven't heard anything from the court, and all of a sudden I received a summons in the mail, or I applied for a job and they tell me that I've got a warrant in a worst case scenario. And what we will tell them is, you are likely part of this huge group of cases with this delayed prosecution. And we can help. It's just unfortunate that it took the prosecution this long to go ahead and charge your cases. Now, just because they waited this long does not mean that your case has somehow improved or even gotten worse. It's just as if now this is day one. So even though it is old, it does not mean one result or another. But with every day that passes, we can start to make arguments that the prosecutor's delay has somehow prejudiced you, and possibly even argue for a motion to dismiss because of this prosecutorial delay. And we've even been successful with some of these cases. Now, it will depend on how long the delay is. If it's a 2-week delay, 2-month delay even, odds are our motion to dismiss won't be granted. But the longer they take to file these charges, and the more prejudice there is to you in a legal sense, the more we can help. And like I said, we've been successful with getting motions to dismiss granted when the prosecutorial delay is so great. So to basically recap, what I'll tell you is just because your case has been scratched does not mean you're out of the woods. It does not mean that these charges will not rear their ugly head down the road. Odds are they will. And just because the case is old, a couple months, even a couple years, it doesn't mean that the state has lost their ability to prosecute. They still have their legal ability to prosecute, but as I said, with every day that passes, it gives us additional ability to attack their case. So if you are one of those people who recently had your cases scratched or some time ago had your case scratched and now they brought these charges, feel free to give me a call. We can help, we can provide information, and ultimately we can get on as the attorney of record and represent you. My telephone number is listed below. It's 602-540-7887. As always, the consultation is free. I can answer any questions you have about scratched cases, so feel free to contact me at your convenience. I look forward to speaking with you.